Hello and welcome back to Raised by Giants, where we talk all things spirituality. I'm Ryder Lee. Tonight we have returning guest, the wonderful and brilliant Paul Knight. But before I introduce him, Raised by Giants is now on Rokfin. Go over there and sign up for a free account. Get all of my content, all of the other creators' content, and sign up for Rokfin premium content, which is far less than a YouTube premium account. And you'll get all of my premium uncensored content along with everyone else's premium uncensored content as well. Check the link in the description to sign up for the video streaming platform Rokfin. Also, if you would like to make a donation to help the channel grow and produce more content, you can donate on PayPal or buy me a coffee to help support my work. It is 100% completely optional, but is unfortunately the only alternative other than monetizing my channel. And we know what happens to channels like this when monetization gets involved. And I want to keep this channel. I like being here with you guys. So if you can donate, I'd very much appreciate it. No donation is too small. And thanks to everyone that's donated so far. I appreciate all of you so much for your lovely and generous donation. Check the links in the description for donation options. Thank you. So without further ado, introducing tonight's returning guest, Paul Knight. He is from the UK, the jack of all trades, geek for learning what he can, when he can. He looks at things differently than most, and there's no topic he doesn't take into consideration. He's been making YouTube videos for nearly 3 years now. If you'd like to check out his work, the link to his YouTube channel is in the description. The name of the channel is called WhattheflockTV. Hello and welcome back, Paul. Good to see you, my friend. I'm pretty sure you're the fastest returning guest I've ever had, brother. So it's an honor and a privilege to have you back on.
It's a pleasure. Like I said, it took like a year, nearly a year's anniversary of the first one, and then the next one we're back on within weeks because obviously we just been going backward, forward, and you just wanted to talk about a few things, and it's cool. Like when you get two good, like-minded individuals, and obviously the people who listen actually enjoys for some reason. So that actually goes down rather well. So when you get people who are open-minded, who want to listen, and you have two people, you know, we talk about anything, it's a good package.
Yes, it's always wonderful speaking with you, Paul. And I'm really digging your new videos. So good, my friend. Well, I mean, all your videos are good and fascinating, but the recent one that I kind of wanted to speak with you with real quick is the Bank of England and time travel stuff. I mean, it was super interesting, you know, the mausoleums being some kind of time travel device, and your connection to the movie John Carter, which if people haven't seen the movie John Carter, I definitely recommend it. It bombed at the box office, but I really enjoyed it. I remember watching it on DirecTV like 10 years ago when I had my wisdom teeth taken out and I was laid up on the couch. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Talk to us a little bit about your most recent video about the Bank of England.
Well, what happened is it might have been when I was on last. I just finished or was just doing the Bank of England. And when I was doing that video, I wanted to put a little piece in about, you know, other things that's around London. So I've not got a more morbid fascination with cemeteries. I just think they're intriguing places, and they also include hidden secrets because there's places that they actually name them monumental cemeteries, and you get weird phenomena like marble statues looking lifelike with eyelashes supposedly cut out of marble. And when I did that old video, finding out that marble, if you split it down in the way I do, it meant petrified or spiritually dead. So that intrigues you. How is this possible to get a word that I've broken up to significantly fit with that? So that was in the Bank of England video, and I'm like, no way. I'm looking at something. It says, and this was just not me making up. It's like on headlines of like local newspapers, and it goes, "This mausoleum is myth of being a portal and a time machine." And I'm like, whoa. I said, should I put that in the video? And I'm thinking, if I put that in the video, it's going to be even longer than what it was. So I got the bug, and obviously, you know, when we're making videos and we're excited about something else, it's like, oh, do I have to, can I finish this now? And you know what I mean? So I had that set in mind, and I didn't mention too many things. So basically, if anyone is watching this for the first time who didn't see me last time, I was making a video about the Bank of England, and we're going to talk about a few of the things that we found in there that Ryder was intrigued about the caduceus. And that's when I found out about something else, and it's about mausoleums theorize that people, Victorian people, found a way to either teleport, because it mentions it both in the same, in the same breath, or is it a teleportation, or is it basically like time travel device? And that just blew me up, because yeah, we've all been brought up and we've all researched when people say time is a man-made construct, but it still has your grips. Everyone is intrigued, especially if you're a sci-fi geek. You're intrigued about time travel. What if? So when you see something labeled a time traveling device, then you look deeper and you find there is an Egyptologist who went to Egypt, found some secret hieroglyphs according to them, and an inventor they label a charlatan. He doesn't even get a grave. He actually, if you go to like the museum's website, it actually has next to his name charlatan, basically, shady and all that. Why would they go to such lengths to stamp him as a charlatan when there's nefarious characters in this world that they don't label anything and get away with everything? So that intrigued me, that grabbed me, and obviously this is why we're back. One of the reasons why we're back on today.
Yeah, and I really liked your theory about the NPCs and the alternate dimensions, and that these time travelers are using these mausoleums, like you were just mentioning, to jump into a different avatar to, kind of live out a life. I mean, and this is just my opinion, but I think if time travel exists, right, I don't think you'd be able to time travel in your physical body. Your physical body would have to be kind of left behind, because going through time and space would probably just shred you apart. But what if you could time travel into an already created avatar or an already created being? And this, ties into my research into egregores and golems. Egregores is an occult concept representing a certain non-physical entity that comes in, from collective thoughts, ideas, and beliefs, and it's a spiritual entity or a consciousness entity. And historically, it refers to angelic beings or watchers. And I love your spell etymology on demons and angels, that they're just frequency beings, that everything is electrical and frequency. And when you broke down the word electric in that video, which was mind-blowing, and we were talking about it a little bit before we started this, which I think it's L is God, ECT is object, RIC jurisdiction or district. So electric meaning this place, object is a jurisdiction of God. And then I was like, okay, well, then if you look at the word golem, right, the definition of the word golem is a creature formed out of lifeless substance, such as dust or earth, that is brought to life by ritual incantations. The golem brought into being by a human creator becomes a helper or a companion or rescuer. And this is what I think that we are. I believe is we are a golem avatar with a egregoric consciousness. I don't know. It just kind of brought together a lot of different things.
In the sense of, because we are mentioning old texts have been made from clay, but clay made from dust, etc., etc. Obviously, there's different interpretations of that. But think about it in the sense of what we're talking about, time travel and NPCs. I've done a video a long time, well, not a long time, but a few months ago. Time flies, doesn't it? As the saying goes. That our NPC has been mislabeled. And I just thinking that if you're an NPC, you're not playing the game. Now, I just doubled it. If we don't seem to be playing the game because we're not going along with the narrative. If they are telling us to do this, we'll research and show them that they're wrong. So I just flipped it on its head thinking, are we the non-playing characters? Because we're not playing their stupid game. But if you look at it from the so-called accepted method, it's like not soulless, or there's just nothing in it, so they're not really playing the game. And that would make sense. Is if you think about it, we are time travelers in the sense that ourselves in these vessels, because I like I talked in the video, I believe we could emit time. That's time backwards, like Back to the Future, the Dr. Emmett. So if we emitted it in like energy, we threw our oscillating, and that's why we always live in the now, but we do remember the past, and obviously we've not been to the future. So I was just thinking, although we can't physically time travel like from me to backward in time, is it a case of, because we've already got a vessel there, the vessel is the port, and the soul, the essence that's in us. I was just theorizing, could is that the fact that that is what gets moved through time or through a portal, and then it obviously, you go to the NPC, as society says, and the soul then obviously clicks on and they become who they are. That's why I was just talking about the celebrities that don't seem to age, and he showed you through the paintings how identical that would mean that they've either found time travel, or we're not unique as much as we think, or they're using adrenochrome or some other method. So it's just about theorizing and coming to a conclusion that things, truth is stranger than fiction, that they say. And we'd have to keep these vessels safe. That's why the rich and the so-called elites seem to have a lot of mausoleums. You know what I mean? And that's when it triggered about John Carter of Mars. Although it wasn't a time-traveling device, it was actually the main thing, protecting his vessel, his husk.
Yeah, that makes sense that you would have to protect if you were going to be doing some kind of time traveling or going into an alternate dimension or alternate reality or something. You would have to have your physical body still here, and then your consciousness or your soul would go into a different body in a different time or a different reality.
Yeah.
And this may be how they are, traveling back and forth, is creating these different kinds of avatars in different times out of DNA or genetic material without a consciousness inside of it, because I
so
believe
it's
that,
not like being invaded.
yeah,
And it could get corrupted. Maybe is that, and I don't say that's to derogatory to anyone, but is this something like schizophrenic or multiple personalities? They're hearing voices. Are these voices from the past hidden in like the blood, because I've talked about how blood has crystalline, and we're crystal anyway, and we oscillate. So certain people are sensitive to hearing memories and thoughts and other things, but could that just be a reason for that? They're actually hearing a fight for the body of such.
yeah, because if you're trying to transfer a consciousness or a soul into an avatar that already has a consciousness and soul in it, that would be like a possession, right?
Yeah.
They'd freak out because there wouldn't be enough room for both consciousnesses.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a word, but so the entity has, maybe made a mistake or is trying to go back in time, or maybe in forward. The voices that they could be hearing, it could be from the future too, and that they're trying to infiltrate into a past incarnation to maybe change something in the past to maybe affect the future. But then you don't really know if time runs linear like that. You don't know if you were to go back in time and change something, would that just split off into a different timeline, or is it all connected? That's something that I'm not really 100% sure about, because I've never been back in time. I've never been in the future, so I don't really know how it works. But there's a couple of different theories that if you went back in time, that it would change the future. But I'm more under the impression that if you went back and you tried to change something, it would just create a different timeline. It's kind of like how we are here, right? I think that every decision, everything that we've ever done in this 3D physical reality, me, you here, there's multiple different timelines and different realities where we've done something different, right? So I don't know, it makes sense that any decision or any choice that we've ever made has split off into a different reality, because where does the energy go, right? The energy would still be there even if you just thought about the decision. The residual energy left over to just thinking about that decision would inadvertently create a different reality or an alternate timeline.
Like I said, yep. And could that be why, for instance, in other realities, or is a set number? Like I said, who knows? Who knows? Because people have had so many different experiences. But the story of like the yin and the yang. Have you got your NPC as such, and you make, you know, the complete whole that we're talking about? You know, we need a little bit of a difference, even though you can be one. You know what I mean? Is that the case of when you, if these people are time traveling, is this vessel and then used as an anchor so they can find their way back? That's why they got to need it to be guarded and put in a mausoleum to go over it. There's just so many perpetrations of what, and it is, but it's just fascinating because when you talk to certain people, as soon as you make time, people are automatically under the spell and say, man, it's a man-made construct. You know what I mean? We should never constrict ourselves. Who said there's no such thing as time travel? Who was the first person ever to come on as a man-made construct? This was said, these theories come from people. For instance, people use the Elites and different things use, like, for instance, Pythagoras. He never wrote one book, one scroll. So why is his name linked to everything? So you got to think about it. It's then oral tradition, and then if they control that oral tradition of speaking, who does it? Is he actually Pythagoras? Did he actually say that? Because there's no way of us saying it, because it's lost in his story. Because it's all stories. You know what I mean? We all have a story, a piece of the book, and you file it away in the book. You turn the page. You know what I mean? So this is just fascinating. I just love just thinking and talking about anything. I'm not worrying that these people think you're crazy, because it doesn't mean you initially believe what you're saying. You just, you know what, you amongst friends and you just firing away suggestions, and you know, you while and why time is as such. You know, like for instance, like you talk around a campfire and you, oh, what about that? And then you come back with yours, and that triggers something else. And this is how we learn as a group. When you're open like that, you move across the knowledge, the bridge, far quicker than if you just restrict yourself. It's like you've got lead boots and concrete boots, and you can't travel, and you can't experiment, you can't enjoy this learning because you're slowing yourself down. And that's why I just talk about and do any video that I want to do. And some people can't get it through the head that when I do a video, it does mean I don't say it's a fact. Most of it I might not intentionally believe, but if I find a video and it'll say, or evidence to say X, I will show X, and then I'll show what other people think that X is, and then I just match and patch it and connect things that I see. And that's just how I am. That's what makes us supposedly unique in it. We're all see things slight variation on each other, and if you don't have all those variations, you can't make the picture, you know, more fuller, more crisper. 4K, 5K, 8K, whatever they're up to now, and TV wise, that's, you know, the crisper it is.
Yeah, it's like when, you know, I bring people on my show, you know, if I just brought on people that would just you know, that would agree with everything, you know, that I say, then I don't think that would be a very, you know, fun show. So you have to bring on, you know, different people to get different kinds of perspectives. And you're completely right. Just because, you know, I do a show with someone doesn't necessarily mean that I, you know, agree with everything that they say. And, you know, that's a weird thing that, you know, people, they get locked into this certain kind of viewpoint, and they can't seem to really get out of it. And I don't believe that there's one blanketed truth for anything, right? Truth is based on experience. Truth is based on experience of your life, right? And Paul, you've had a different experience in your life. You have a truth, right? I've had a different experience of my life. I have a truth. Joe Blow down the street, or the neighbor down the street, has a different experience of his life. So therefore, he has a different truth as well, right? And it's unfortunate that, you know, we get people that, you know, want to blanket everyone with their own individual self-portrayed truth. You know, that's not the way that it is. At least I don't think so anyway. You know, there's many different avenues, and there's many different perspectives to look at things from.
Yeah, it's just like they want to make us all grey. Then, because we are who we are, we say, well, there's many shades of grey. You know what I mean? So even the community want you to be that same shade of grey, but you know, we rebel and we think, well, you know what? I like that different shade of grey. You know what I mean? So there's so many different variations on the one thing, and people, you know, we just have to respect that. That's their opinion. People are so focused on, I want to get Ryder and change his mind about this, and I'm not stopping, and I'm just going to barrage him and barrage him. Well, there's no, you know what I mean? We don't agree on. I bet there's a lot of things we don't agree on, but the respect is there that we're unique, you know. And like you said, we've been brought up completely different and different time zones, and there's so much to, you know, make us who we are. Bad, you know, bad times as well as good times. You know what I mean? So that's just how, you know, we roll. And we always look for something different, and that's why when we did that last video, and then obviously we just been keep talking anyway, and you're like, oh, no way, and you're like, send me that. I say, oh, we'll have to do a video on that, and then it's, oh, we'll have to do a video on this, and we'll have to do a video on that. So that's why we're back, guys, because blame me, we've been sending stuff backward and forwards, and it's like he had to get out of his system.
Yeah, exactly. That's you know, we could probably do a video every single week on, you know, just all the information that you, that you've really put together. I really honestly believe you're a genius on many levels, and that's my perspective, right? That's my truth. You know, a lot of people might not agree with that. Who knows? You know, but that's what I believe. You know, and I think it's interesting too because okay, so if they can create these avatars and these golems, right, from DNA and genetics of artificially or organically, it doesn't really matter, and insert the egregoric consciousness into the golem, then you would have us, right? And you would also be able to have a perfect slave too, right? You could program that avatar to kind of do whatever you wanted because you've created it. So I think it works on, you know, both angles. It could be used for these entities to jump back and forth through time that may be you know, advanced consciously or in an advanced entity, and then it can also be used to dumb people down too, to create these zombie type you know, people, maybe not so much soulless. I do think that there are some beings on the planet that are just, they don't have any kind of soul. They're just kind of lifeless shells, and you know, that's an explanation for it too. They could be this this golem kind of avatar that only has a certain amount of consciousness in it just to be able to walk around and pretend enough, and then that's their kind of role here. I don't know.
It would make perfect sense, because then this realm is made up of spells which I use to indoctrinate and, you know, control. Because if you think about it, people think they're so clever. I don't. And you train a pet, you train, you know, and we're being trained. That's why they call it indoctrination. So all species, if you repetitively use the same spell, doesn't matter how smart we are, we're all indoctrinated to a degree, but there's so many different levels. You know what I mean? Is it a case of, well, because we are, you know, people who are listening today are researching it, we are like swimming to the surface. We're trying to get out of that spell, that frequency. Because like I said, it's all frequency based. We are oscillating at a frequency, and if we're being bombarded, we'll be controlled by a degree. For instance, how long have we been doing in when you go to the cinema, or the pictures that they do flickered in the pictures of, go and get a hot dog, go and get a Coke. And people are sitting there going, I'm thirsty. You know what? I'm just going to go and get a drink. So they've been doing it forever in different names, different forms. And it'd be no different. Golem, obviously made from mud, obviously mainly from the Jewish religion. But according to the Christian, but you know, text, we were made from dust. You know what I mean? In certain parts, and even in, I think if I remember right from the old video, there's a certain part from in Islam as well that were made from dust. So it's there. And if we are mud, and that's why it could be mud flood, do we walk out of the mud? Are we just different forms of golem? So it's not saying that we are. we're human, you know, with different things. It's just we're just getting these ideas out and firing back, and we are easily controlled at times, aren't we? And I'm not using the example because like we all have an ego sometimes, and we keep it in track, but we do sometimes overthink things. It's like, well, if they're trying to do that, is it because of this and this? And that sometimes that it could be a form of indoctrination. They're actually confusing confusing because they're using the confusion to fog our minds. You know,
Absolutely. I found myself doing that with the most recent tearing down and explosion of the Georgia Guidestones, you know, like they were brought down yesterday, which this will be releasing tomorrow. So it won't be actually be yesterday. It'll be two days ago they were brought down when you guys see this. But I found myself thinking, you know, because everyone's like, oh yeah, they took them down, you know what I mean? Finally, you know, we get something good. And then I'm kind of sitting back and thinking like, okay, well, if I was a covert government, right, I would go in and purposefully take them down and explode them so that there wouldn't be any trace of my plan and what I wanted to do, so that no one can come back and say when they've actually completed their plan that, you know, this was the evidence that, you know, that their plan was, you know, coming to fruition. Right. So I kind of found myself going, and that's a problem with you know, a lot of the, you know, conspiratorial community.
I'm just
That
finding something I did from an old video. Sorry to
that
interrupt you.
yeah, that we tend to like you know, dig and dig and dig and dig into something, and then it becomes, you know, something negative when, you know, it was probably positive, right? And you know, it was more, you know, of a positive thing, and everyone's looking at it as, you know, super positive, like, yeah,
Yeah.
take down the, you know, the deep state and, you know, foil their plans and all that. And then I'm sitting back here thinking, oh no, this is just a part of the plan. You know, but
Yeah, because everyone's got, you know, I said, you know, what's the Georgia Guidestones, etc., etc., and they're telling you they're going to reduce the population, etc., etc. I mean, if they're going to do it, they won't tell you. I mean, could that be a cover up? But what made me intrigued about the stones, and I'm not saying I found it. Like I said, I included it in a long time ago in the video, but it just intrigued me because the guide stones, if I remember, above look like that. Now that is a Nordic ruin. It's called the Wendy Horn. It's the actual life and death ruin merged. You know what I mean? And I think that's Freya, if I remember. You know, Freya associated with Frigg, and then some say it's not the same person, but that's the life and death ruin, the Wendy Horn. You know what I mean? And it's just intriguing. You know what I mean? So there's certain things. I mean, what section was blown up? Would it be in the death? Like I said, I've not looked into it because I've been busy with a new video. So it's just intriguing. Have they blowed up the life part of it or the death part of it, depending on which way you want to look at it? So it's just, again, we see we see things differently. And when I looked at the stones from above, I thought, oh, they look like the Wendy Horn. You know what I mean? So it's just sometimes it's a good time to be alive in this realm because it's intriguing, and sometimes you just want to get out of here, and that is the daily battle that we all have.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's hold on, I was trying to look up because I thought that symbol was interesting too, because you have the three on top, and then you have the three below as well. And I was just trying to look at something. Three.
It's a bind ruin for you know, for the symbolizing life and death.
Yeah, I'm not finding it, but
So
that's all right.
if you want to look at it while we're speaking, it's WENDEHORN, Wend E Horn.
Wind E horn, and it's a ruin,
Yeah.
life and death ruin.
Yeah. to say, so, you know, the life and death rune that you can get, it's just merged together. It's a bind rune. So, you know what I mean? You could talk about what's it binding. That's what I was talking about in the video. What I did remember. Are they binding us to this? You know, so there's just so many things that you can look at it. If you think about it as a spell, look at the community. How many people talk about the Georgia Guidestones? Now, if that's a bind rune, it's binding your mind to investigate it.
Absolutely, and that makes a lot of sense that it would be like that. And then you could look at it too as the two different worlds: the three on the top and then the three on the bottom. It could be the you know, the beginning and the end again. You know, but I wanted to get into something that we kind of wanted to. We kind of went off on a little thing there, but I wanted to talk about the Bank of England. That's how it goes with us, but the reason that I wanted to bring you on today was you blew my mind with something here recently, and I I messaged you because the video that I released right after yours, I had a bombardment of flat Earth people in my chat. You know, and you know how flat Earth people are. You know, they're like, oh yeah, it's flat. It's like all there is to it, and they get really angry at you when you don't believe them. You know, I think majority of them, I believe, are paid. They're paid to do that. I think that they're CIA or some kind of 3-letter agency people because they're everywhere, dude. Like any chat that you get in, it seems like they're there. But then I messaged you about it. I was like, hey,
yeah, and you were like,
and I was like, hey, what do you what do you think about this flat Earth stuff? And you were like, oh, well, I kind of pissed them off because I'm kind of, both ways on it. I talk about both sides of it. And then you brought up something really freaking mind blowing that I had no idea about. And I don't think that a majority of people know about. And that is where our internet comes from.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want to go I'll give you the chance because you know a lot more about it than me. I'm completely new to it, but
I'll just get it. Some stuff ready for you. I'll actually come prepared. So what it is, guys, I'll click on it in a minute and it'll come up. So we was back and forth. People don't realize, like I said, I've been in a lot of different communities. I'm always on the fringes, and like I said to you, that's where I got the name, my old channel, the Black Sheep, because I was in the flat Earth community years and years and years ago. Because I'm an intriguing mind. When I see something, I'll just I'll jump in, and people in that community, not everyone, because like I said, I'm still friends with a lot of people today from that community. But certain individuals in that community would call me a black sheep, so that's how I got my own name. So people always ask me, "Are you a flat Earth? Are you this?" Well, I'm investigating, and everything is a frequency, energy, and vibration. And I've always talked about how this realm can morph into whatever reality that your knowledge, your gnosis defines how this reality appears. And then obviously, I'm not talking about my next video, which will delve into this, but I'll get the stuff loaded. What it is people don't realize that. For instance, when we was talking, Ryder was coming to me and says about blah blah, and I said, well, you do know about satellites, don't you? And he was like, yeah, in space. He said, no, that's not the communication. It's all done by undersea cables. And he was like, no, God, that's it. This is where Paul's he's lost it now. And everything is there for you to see. You can type it in. The world internet media is 99% done by undersea cables. And we'll go through all the stuff that I've got to go through.
Yeah, that was mind blowing to me. I was like, because it's all they always talk about satellites and how satellites are, the form of communication, and you're like, no, it's not satellites. It's done through undersea cables, and I'm like, holy shit! And you're sending me all these pictures and articles about the undersea cables, and I'm like, oh my god, how does people?
And it's how you interpret it. It is up to you. So what I'll do is I'll go through a few of the things. I'll just share the screen. And people will say you can go and type it yourself. I'm not hiding. I'm not, going through. But straight away, this is an old media. This is from, January. But it's just showing you that the military chief warns of Russian threat to vital undersea cables, which you think, but that does nothing to do with satellites. Again, correct. But when you start going, did I jump one then? No, it didn't. So when you start going to the global internet is powered by vast undersea cables, but they're vulnerable. So you can go on any media and type in undersea cables internet, and it'll tell you. It's not being hacked. It's not hiding on some where you have to be a hacker to get to it. These are all articles, and as you can see, the global internet is powered by a vast undersea cables. There you go. I'll zoom in so people can see. Underwater cloud inside the cables carrying 99% of the transoceanic data traffic. You can even go on. This is all maps. You type in undersea cables, you'll get the maps where they all are around this realm. This is how your internet is passed so fast to country because it's going down fiber optics. There is the map. And as you can see, it says, this map shows the cables in one glance. And you can get these maps anywhere. It's not hidden. You can quite see. And this is what's happening in the world. There's a war on the, they're going around cutting them, and sharks obviously attracted to the frequency of them and bite them. So they keep getting refixed. But it's not hard to find. There we go.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that, we've, in the United States, they've been talking about this threat from Russia all the time, right? Yeah. Russia's going to, Russian hack, blah, 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 blah. But it might not be so much as a hack as it could be them just cutting the sea cables out.
Yeah, I'll get the other stuff now while we share. And people think, oh, what is it? What is it? I'll show you an actual clip of it, of what one of them looks like. You can find many that are different. Just by my computer, it will take a time to load up because it's slow, and it should come up on the screen there, as you can see. Let me get it bigger for you, so you can actually see that is what an undersea cable. One better basic. There's so many different varieties of it, but that's what basically it goes under the sea. I have a good friend, Ray, that actually his dad used to lay them. You know what I mean? So it's intriguing. Now you think, well, what about satellites? What are satellites? Right. Satellites are just satellites, what you think they look like, but on balloons. And people will be going, no. Well, here we go. We'll go through all the guys, and you'll be shocked. Why these badass balloons are the Pentagon's new secret weapon. We'll be going back in time, talking about balloons as secret weapons. It is a crazy world, guys.
Wow.
Better than satellites. This article's telling you how these are better than satellites. A satellite is actually on the balloon. So I'm not, obviously, we'll be here all day going through each article. People can type it in. It's easily found. Next click. The biggest consumer of helium is NASA, using annually almost 75 million cubic feet. And these will say, oh, well, they're using it for cool liquid for rockets, but what is helium used in?
Balloons.
Balloons. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. This is an actual defense thing. In Israel, they're setting it up. The states have one too. What is it? It's a balloon. It's got cameras. It's got everything. It's for defense. In this day and age, they're using a defense balloon. Are we talking about 1950s? I'll get back to that in a minute. So you can see scientific balloons, NASA. You will use it, and I'll show you actually images of the balloons on satellites. You can go to NASA's website, type in balloons. It'll show you. That's where I got these from. Scientific balloons. People think, oh, well, that's just scientific balloons.
So how many balloons would they have to have in the sky in order to transmit a internet?
That's the intriguing thing. How many would they need? Because they're getting all the helium. There you go. This is what I wanted to show you before. The Pentagon is quietly transitioning high-altitude balloon projects to military service. So these are actually going to military service in this day and age, when we have this so-called smart tech. Why have balloons? This is off NASA's website, or it might be, yes, NASA's website. There is a satellite, as you can see. Let's zoom in more for it. As you can see, on a balloon.
Wow.
It's not hidden. So these go up to high altitude. And let me go back to this first because it's not in order for some reason. Right. There is a word in the English dictionary called loon. And the definition is a silly or foolish person. So obviously you got balloon, but also they found it so funny many years ago to have, let me get to it, the Loon Project. Project Loon is an initiative to create a network of high altitude balloons that can provide an internet connection to anyone below. Well, if you've got satellites in space, why would you need these anyway? And it shows you the Loon balloon going down to. And what's funny is that it looks like the symbol that I'm not long posted. Can I find that while I'm just talking about this? But it actually will blow your mind because I didn't see that before. I'll show you in a minute. Basically, that symbol there, it looks like a cereal snack. It's actually a Roman and Masonic symbol for day and night, light and dark, openness and concealment. And I'll show you when I'm not showing the screen. So this is actually showing you Project Loon. So basically, they've named the project, and you could say, well, it's balloon. These people would know loon means silly or foolish person. Surely, you can't keep, giving these people excuses. And look at this. What we know about the high altitude balloons recently lingering off America's coastlines. You can see it doesn't go down, it only goes to the, but it's showing you satellites on balloons. And these, if you read it, the military has been testing high altitude balloons that are steerable and can remain aloft for long periods while carrying cutting edge payloads. Straight out the horse's mouth. Wow. They can move them, they can steer them.
How would they get them? How would they get them out of the sky and then replace them?
Easily. Well, let me get to it now. Oh, let me come away. I've actually got pictures for you. And it's called Fulton or Sky Hook. Can you see the hook at the front there?
Yeah.
That collects them.
Is that an actual plane?
Yep. That it'll go up. I've got another image for you now. For some reason, it's not. Let me zoom in. Here's one in the sky with a bit better view.
Wow.
So you can see what happens is the balloons and the satellites would go through here and it would just grab and pick it up right in front of your face.
Wouldn't you you would be able to do that with a drone too, right? You would just be able to, fly a drone around to collect the balloons as well, right?
If they had a big enough drone, yeah, you could use a drone as well. So that is just showing you that. There we go. For some reason, it's not letting me zoom in now. But you can see cameras, all the tech, and these are what's flying around. You saw this painted up like saying Goodyear. You wouldn't think none the wiser. Yet it's used for defense and spying and different things. Why you need this if in this reality? This is Project Loon.
Wow, and it blends in. They have that collar of the balloon, so it just blends in with the sky too to make it almost appear like it's not even there.
For some reason it won't let me click forward, but yeah, I showed you that one, didn't I? Yeah, so you can go to NASA's website, get all this. Nothing's hidden. What I'm showing you now is that's just a super pressure ultra long duration balloon, ULDB, called Pumpkin, and they'll stay up. And look at it, even talking about how in different pressures and different things it goes up and down like the sin wave. Sin, like a sine wave. So it's just intriguing. This is what's flying about. Your internet is provided by the cables, which you can just sort it. You can type it in right now. Listen to this. World media, internet traffic 99%, and it'll come up everything that we've just been showing you. Go to NASA's website, type in the balloons. You'll get all this, and this is just quickly, to show you for this little presentation.
So
now,
you
when I was
think,
showing you about that concealment,
yeah.
that's the
Yep,
same
day and night,
symbol.
light and death. Wow.
Yeah, that, and if you look at it, apart from looking like a cereal, it's also the Masonic checkered floor, white and black.
So why would they be, deceiving us that, it's that our internet is got to us by satellites? Like, just to hide the fact that they're doing it by balloons and by internet sea cables, because if the majority of the people would know this, and a lot of the, but really they're putting it right in front of our faces, just like you said. You can get on the NASA website and look up the Loon project and internet sea cables, and you can see it all there. So it's like they're deceiving us in the public, but then not in the public, they're letting us know. I don't know.
And if you think about it, because why they're doing it, it's not always about control, but you get the questions if you get told, right, all the internet's on the sea cables and then it'll mention satellites. This is, well, why do we need satellites? Why is there no satellite? So you automatically go for people who are intuitive will think, well, if all the media is going under the sea, what are the satellites in the sky? Then you start looking in. That's why this type of information is in the flat earth community, because it's being used. And like I said, I've been in the community. I've got a lot of friends in it. It's talking about how that is proof we're not in the reality that they are speaking, because satellites, you can quite see it. And people say, oh, well, that's just scientific satellites. Well, that's giving you the question. I'm not saying for 100% because I don't know everything 100%, but I've showed you a little bit of evidence to show you that satellites are not what they say. The satellites that you perceive with the wings, but they're attached to the balloons. Now that is a wow moment. Then you figure out that NASA are the biggest buyers of helium. Helium balloons. Then you start looking at it and you might say, well, they're using it for rockets. So there's always people that will come back. But when you put that as a collection of information, that has to get you thinking, well, how? All the media. What about phones? Well, phones, obviously, you have things on balloons. You also have towers. It's going through. That's why you hear it in films. Oh, let's track this person. Oh, well, let's get it in between 3 points on the towers. It's always the towers that they talk about in the TV films and so. Let's always in the triangle, the pyramid in between 3. I mean, I looked into it and technically it should be 4 that they're using. But like I said, it's just here to get you thinking. I've looked into it. And from my point, it's wow. It shocked you because you were like, oh, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, really? Satellites, what we know, don't exist. Why are they sending them up in balloons if you have satellites there already? According to them, we have, is it 100,000 plus satellites orbiting the Earth? And then someone will say, well, when you show us on the space station, we can't see them. But they're higher up. Well, you never see them. Now they're trying to tax it for cleaning up space, get these satellites. And satellites are not just what I showed you on the balloon. Satellites are also named as meteorites and different things. And then obviously we got talking about that. And I said, how many people have been died from a satellite or a meteorite? Like I say, a meteorite.
Yeah, how many satellites have we seen crash to Earth? I don't.
Yeah, you'll see the odd one on the news pictured in an Indian village and stuff like that. But now you realise, what's that? It looked like a balloon in a corner or something like that attached to it, and people automatically think, oh, that's the safety, safety chute and different things. Now they have a plane that goes up around collecting them all, and obviously human error, you're going to miss a few. These questions are just there for you to ask.
What's interesting too is the cover up of Roswell. What they said that it was a weather balloon that crashed and not an exotic craft or whatever, because that would have been the easiest cover up, because it would already have, been in the sky,
Yeah.
and it would have fell. And then that was them kind of maybe, disclosing that they've been using these kinds of balloons.
You've got like testimony and old videos and the usual, and it's called Operation Fishbowl. It's in the 50s. They supposedly hit nukes, and they sent them up, and it supposedly hit what's classed as a firmament, and it rang like a bell. That is easy for you there to go and look as well. So you got these things, they're sending rockets up and hitting something that's like a firmament, a shell. And this is why, if we are in this enclosed system, like I said, I've got my ideas in it, and obviously people will not into it. This is why satellites and all this are hell dodgy, and whether you CGI. I mean, I think you saw the footage of it. You can go on YouTube and put the International Space Station's flappy door. It's made of cardboard. Have you ever saw that one?
No, I haven't.
While I'm talking to you, I can't get on. I can't show you the video, but I can show you the image as we're speaking. It's basically the shutting the door on the hatch on the space station. It folds like cardboard, like it's paper. And you would not have that in a vacuum, would you?
Nope.
And then obviously if that's what these things are. If you start asking these questions, it leads to you wanting answers. So if more and more people said, well, if this is on this, can I just find it on here? It's easily found on YouTube. It's like a flappy, the cardboard door. I'll actually not put and what it is you'll see it if you go to YouTube. Basically the so-called astronauts are coming in, they shut the door behind them, and it basically it goes like this. And this is no lie or anything. They shut the door and it goes like that. So it completely folds. You would not have, and it goes like that. And so you got all this footage. And like I said, I'm not going into this, but this is the things that we ask. If you then think, you know what, undersea cables, there's no need for satellites, are they spying on us? And then you automatically go on to another topic, don't you? You're curious. If they've lied about this, what else are they lying about? And thus it's a problem. People start answering questions when you get handed the evidence saying satellites, the internet traffic. How long have you been a truther? And now you're your age and you're just learning that all the internet goes through undersea cables. I remember your emoji. Head explosion.
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea that it was, because we're pounded with it's from satellites. It's from satellite.
Yep.
I mean, and it technically is some part from satellites, but it's not actual metal satellites. It's the balloon, the Loon project satellites. They've just coated it and covered it up by saying that it's these huge metal structured satellites that are orbiting the Earth. And then when you look at it, because I don't think that rockets were able to, the rockets that, we shoot off into space can only go around the Earth's atmosphere. It can't actually go any further than that. That's, that was my belief on it from, researching the moon landing and the footage from the moon landing, and the moon landing being 100% fake, and the footage at least being fake. I think maybe we got there through some other advanced craft, but yeah, rockets can only go around the atmosphere of the Earth.
That's why we talked about the apogee, how you see a rocket and it always goes up and it always comes down, and the highest point is its highest point. Now they've also done things in regard to this. I don't like to take away from what we're talking about, but they've also stated that rockets that you think go, why would they go up? You need to save as much fuel as possible. You would not go and then go off on an arc. You'd want the shortest route possible. That's the shortest route to A to B. You don't go to A, go to Z, and you go the shortest route. You've also got the fact that rockets, and this is their words, are basically like bombs. They've said it's the equation of the rocket fuel equation. They basically said, and then you take into account that, is it humans pass out at like 9-10 G or something like that, and they're going out 12,000 G, something ridiculous like that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you can look into. Like I said, this is just off my head, off my head. But yeah, there's all these questions. So when you said about internet and you were like talking about people, and I'm bang, and your head went damn, and that's what the point. Now you're now inquiring, and you're asking, what else are you lying about? And that's the purpose of this realm. It's about control. Who controls us? And it's not just about controlling you physically. It's also controlling you, mentally, and what you research. That's why certain topics seem to be pushed in people's faces, because they want you to research them and not things that's going around. For instance, I researched Janos, and even you now, are looking into that a lot more, and you can see how it's ingrained in everything. Now, a friend of mine sent me I'm not going to name the channel, but he's basically said to this big channel that maybe a lot of people will watch. And he said, why don't you go into and look into Janos? And he said, oh no, Janos is insignificant. It's just a Roman deity. That's it. And this is a big channel saying this, that a lot of people watch for being enlightened. So this is what's happening in the community. We are gatekeeping ourselves. And that's what I always said to you. People on big channels refuse to look into Janos because they just Google straight away and see the first line and don't look into it. And that's what happened with this internet. You won't look into it because you take it for granted. Satellites, circulating, satellite. We have cell towers. Internet gets beamed. And I've just told you, and you can look yourself. But I think that's what you was doing. You were like, straight away on your phone, is he just in here? Bang! 99% of the world media is undersea cable. So what happens? We're talking now. It's going under the sea. It'll hit like a tower, not a tower, but the end, and then get passed to you. Obviously, short term is it can use towers like 5G is ultra fast, but the signal is so strong but yet so weak, and after it needs the towers every so 100 meters. So that's just showing you if 5G is so strong, yet it can only go through a certain amount of distance, and you have to cut trees down because trees block it, and that's what another show in itself. It's just showing you then thought, what else? And that is what they don't want. They don't want you. They don't want people listening today or tonight or whenever it goes out thinking, what else? If they've lied about that, what else have they lied about? Why are NASA having $50 to $60 million per day? Why?
Into helium, yeah. That's
what they get. They get about 50 to 60 odd million per day for and that's just what the essence is, and that's what a lot of the good people in that community do and research and pass on. And yet, like any community, you do get people that are controlled, just like anything in life. You get your good ones and you get your bad ones.
Absolutely. And really quick, I wanted to, because we're talking about NASA and the moon and space and stuff, I wanted to show this video of the Apollo 17 liftoff, from the moon in December 14th, 1972, because a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, the moon footage is, they only concentrate on the footage of the moon and everything, but they don't realize that there was the Apollo takeoff from the moon, which is crazy ridiculous. And before I show the video, I just want to say that these images and video are for educational purposes only. I do not own any of the images or illustrations published in this video, and under the copyright section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And that's exactly what we're doing here today, is commenting on the video presented about the lunar takeoff from the moon. And I don't know if you've seen this, Paul, but it's very interesting and very telling. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've seen many things, obviously, being in that community.
Yeah, this is wild, dude. Okay, so this is footage of the moon. This is footage from the Apollo 17 liftoff from the moon. Look at that. It just lifts right off of the lander straight up into the sky. No propulsion, no nothing. And the camera follows it all the way up. Right. So who's maneuvering this this camera on here, Paul? Like, you're telling me they have someone left behind on the moon? That's
did you know that they do have a telescope on the moon as well?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Look at this right here in the very beginning. It looks like tin foil is just exploded off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is this? Like,
and these things. There's actually this. I said I can't say for 100% because obviously this is stuff I looked into a long time ago. Obviously when I was in that community, but they actually film this. There's actually, when I used the image, for special effects, you can actually see when it gets right to the top, what looks like a wire.
Yeah, it does.
And you've got to think about this, folks, that you're spending so many billions going into space, and this is no lie. You can check this yourself. The cameras that they were using, even to this day, were 2 megapixel. Why?
Yeah, then not only that, like, it according to NASA, it takes millions of dollars just to send food and stuff in this space.
Yeah.
So in the cameras in the late 60s and early 70s, when they went to the moon, had to be huge and bulky. You know what I mean? Like, even a camera.
The buggy, the space buggy that would fit in the bottom of that as well. So it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense logistically and logically. It makes absolutely no sense. And then what, they just left a 1,000, however much the camera was behind on the moon just to get that shot of them lifting up off of the moon. And how was the camera following the shuttle on the way up? Oh, what, they just had a tripod with a manual.
And if I remember, Ryder, there's actually someone buried on the moon.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if his name is Shoemaker or something like that. His ashes are actually buried on the moon. Just a normal random guy connected somewhere, buried on the moon. And that's another thing. You know what I mean? That's what makes you ask. You would go to all this to do it. Let me see if I can get his name. So these are all the things that we ask. Here we go. I'll just read it out, unless you want me to turn on the screen. It just says, Eugene was an American geologist and one of the founders of the field of planetary science. He was involved in the training of astronauts and principal investigator for Apollo 11. And he basically, his ashes are on the moon. And his name is Eugene Merle Shoemaker.
Shoemaker.
So, you know what I mean? You can just see. And he's buried on his ashes are on the moon. They have a telescope on the moon. They've got all this stuff is on the moon. And there's people, it's a shock to people, but it's common sense. They've even said in videos, and not long ago, that they do want to go to Mars and the moon again, but they can't because they can't get past the Van Allen belt, the Van Allen belt. Well, haven't you done that so many times?
And then they just happened. Yes. They lost the technology, and they lost the original footage too. The original footage of them being on the moon is nowhere to be found. They don't have it.
Yeah. You can get an old phone an old smartphone, like, 3-4 years ago, and it's still more computing power than the bricks that the computers to get to the moon, and they've lost it. And it's like, you're telling porkies, and this is why that community now, everything about that community that you brought up, there's some fishy stuff in that, but there's good people, there's smart people in it, just like any other community. And that's what I miss, because I just stick to myself, basically. And obviously you talk to me and a few others, because I'm so open to different ideas, and I treat it as information, and people don't like that. They want you to say, I'm this, I'm that. And then even in them communities, you'll have people splitting off. And if you say, well, that map's wrong, people have fights over a map. Then they don't like it when they're arguing over maps being wrong, and me saying all maps are lies, all maps are spam. That's what it tells you in your face. Spam is maps. So, and we know what the word spam is. So people don't like it. So, and that's just the community we're actually in. Do you want me to put that image up that you wanted me to get?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Giannis here. Don't want to let you.
This is what you saw in my video. Let me see if I can zoom that in a bit more.
Yeah, I can't let you get out of here without talking about Giannis.
Share the screen. So it's been in the collective, but it's just, these are the things that the basic things like this people need to look into, because it's what else. So I'll let you fire away, because you said I want to, basically you wanted to show with this first, and then we just got rabbiting on.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting to me, because you have the two worlds here, which you have basically said is Giannis. We have the two Giannis islands on both ends of the world. Then you have it them connecting in the middle, and then you actually have two infinity symbols here. You have the infinity right here between the two snakes. Then you have the three heads of Giannis, the two snakes that are coming up, and then you have the third head in the middle with the wings behind it. And then what I found interesting, this is the first one that I had seen that actually has Giannis at the bottom too. So it's like as above, so below in there as well. And then, we were talking about how, Giannis is the beginning and the end. He's the doorway, but the door has been closed. It's only been opening in a certain way. And that's what I really think is going on in this picture. There's so much symbology and so much things to look at in this photo alone. And what I did in my video too was I took that image that you had about the Lucifer being the the pelvic bone. Whenever you decode Lucifer, then then I replaced that that pelvic bone with the head and the wings of the caduceus symbol. And then I think that makes a lot of sense, because you broke down that LU derives from the word illum, which is very close to the word illumum, which the illumum is the pelvic bone, that if you light up the pelvis bone with red, with the hips being without the hips being illuminated, the ilium. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going off the top of my head here. It's sometimes hard to remember and get all the words. You get what looks like a devil, in the hip bone, being the wings. And I was thinking, well, what else is wings? The caduceus symbol has wings. So if you replace the caduceus symbol with the pelvic area, you get something completely different. And then we know Giannis is the god of beginnings and ends and gates and transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, keys, beginnings and ends. So it's like, there's so much to this the Janus thing. But you didn't really talk too much about this image in your video. What do you think is going on here in this image?
Yeah, the reason I didn't talk too much, because obviously I didn't want to go too you know, sometimes when you go into a video, you can actually bang and you're going on about the subject and it takes it away from the bank. This, guys, for anyone who's watching, this is actually in the Bank of England. Now, obviously, people will say this is the caduceus or Hermes wand because it's Hermes or Hermes or whatever you want to pronounce it. But Hermes or Mercury is also Janos. I've showed it in various videos, and it's not just me saying I think it's Hermes, it's other people, and they wrote books on it. You know what I mean? So it's not a case of me showing every time I say this and showing in the relief. You'd be here all day. Obviously, you got the laurel, which is associated with the Roman crown. Obviously, yes, it was done in Greek, but also it's, you know, the Roman crown. Janos invented crowns. You obviously have the two hemispheres of this plane, this realm. Could this be talking about the hemispheres of the brain? Because if you look at the wings and then you go down here, that is a Y. Now, the Y is actually in your brain. I call it the wand. You know, it's that's like, I call it the receptor, you know, the radio, the transistor, you know, this is what picking up these signals. So you have everything. You have obviously the affinity, which if you turn it around the other way, it looks like the owl's eyes, which is actually in the sacrum, the sacred area. You have the four heads of the snake. Well, the four heads, Janus originally had four heads, actually, because the cardinal directions are also associated with him and Cardia. And then you're looking at the, obviously, the wings and what Ryder was talking about in my video about the connection. And you have it at both ends. So you have it like the pineal, because that's a lot like a face, like Hermes, but also looks like a you know, the pineal gland. And you also have the anus. It's down below, which is the coccyx area, the sacrum. So all these things are connected. And in Bible verses, it talks about how the tail will cut off and different things. So you have all this, and this is just in the bank. Why is this in the bank? All to do with commerce, they say, and obviously commerce derives from the word trafficking, because that's what I covered in the video. So you got that one, and if I go back to the other one, where's it gone? It disappeared. I did put the other one up for you because I can't remember if you put it in the other video, but this is in the bank again too.
Yeah, you got the Southern Cross on the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And people don't know. This is what intrigues me about Janus, folks. Jupiter is also Janus. That's why he appears everywhere together, and it's crazy. You got the owl, you got the eagle. This could be Rome, and the owl is associated with the oculus. And if you remember my old video on the oculus, it basically talks about how the oculus means I rule this world, I own the road, you know. And then you have the plow, and this is not just me saying it. This is just like what the lady from the curator of this the museum in the bank as well said. This is a plow and a Southern Cross. And for my research quickly into this, I found out that is known as the circle of time. And then the Southern Cross is red. So you had a circle with a red cross, which is basically the St. George's flag, the Genoese flag, which is associated with Janos. And then obviously you got the arches. So it's just an intriguing, again, in the Bank of England. Why is this in the Bank of England? And the actual guy who ran it, the governor, that's him. They use his face. So
Wow.
it's it's an intriguing thing of mosaics in the Bank of England.
Yeah, that one has all of the symbolism in it. That one's got the Southern Cross, the infinity.
And you can actually then dive into other stuff, that what does the Southern Cross mean and different things. You know what I mean? So they chose to put them there. And obviously there's the 12, you could say it could be the 12 stars of the zodiac. There's a certain god who stands over the 12 zodiac. What's his? Oh, Janos. That's it. I've showed you in the video. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Think about it. You know, when you're talking about astrology and you're talking about, well, they're all different houses. What do houses have? They have doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know plenty of astrologers and some really, really clever and smart. You know what I mean? And it's just intriguing. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things I need to look into more. And we delve into different things, and we just get lost. There's only so many topics that you can go to, but when we come to that topic, it seems to connect them all. Now, I've said we've talked about in this video of different things, and it's just intriguing. It mind blows you. I mean, when I went about the internet and it's all undersea, I'm like, no way. And I'm talking to a friend, Ray, and he said, yeah, his dad was laying him in the 50s. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It just gets you thinking. It's always been there. And if that's a question we've not asked ourselves, what other questions have we not asked that's so simple to see?
Absolutely. And I want to show this the picture of the one that I created really quick. If people didn't see that video that I did of on Yanis based on your work, which
It is a good video.
I just took the pelvic bone, the video that you did about Lucifer, and then I just cropped out the top of the snake, and then I put the pelvic, because it's wings. So you got the wings of your hips, and then you have the middle of your pelvic bone being the pineal gland, and then I also put it down below too, because you commented. I sent you the one, and you're like, oh yeah, you got to remember that he's one on the top and one on the bottom. It's a door. It runs both ways. So I was like, okay, well, perfect. And so I just flipped one upside down and put it at the bottom, but. I was like, holy shit, this is, what it is, because I think that, they're making it to seem like it's, our pineal gland when it's really been inverted, and it's our sexual organ that they're trying to, attack. And that's why sex is, looked at as, something that it's not looked at as divine anymore. It's just been ruined and destroyed, and lust and greed and all of these things. And I think that that's the inversion that they've put on it, and they've locked us into this domain of sex, lust, and greed. And this is the way that they've done it. I don't know.
Yeah, that when I did that with because basically in the video that Ryder's talking about, I used to have a video about the vocal cords, and I merged it together with a video on the tail, because obviously we had a tail. Some people are still born with it today, and that is why they came up with the theory of evolution. It's in the title, theory, and it's again taken as fact by the cabal, the science. But we had a tail. And obviously then you could think about, Avatar and all the Masonic symbols on that. Did we connect to the trees? Trees in ancient times were cut down. It says this. Whether you believe in that is another matter. But it raises questions, and that's why you have to look into it. You know what I mean? That's what I always do when I say the video. Is like, am I going crazy, or can you see this? It's like, because sometimes there is a word called pareidolia. I've been often associated with seeing it all the time by the trolls. But if I see something, I will show it, and I will leave it up to people, because people see different things. And that's the beauty of it. People don't understand this. We see different things. Now, you know what I mean? Down there, it's called sacrum, the sacrum, and that's sacred. So you think, if that's down there, it's sacred, and it has the ilium, the angel wings. The tailbone is the coccyx, and in Latin that is cuckoo. Now, cuckoo hides its eggs in plain sight in other nests. It's hidden in plain sight. The so-called famous truth in word is hidden in plain sight. The tailbone is hidden in plain sight, and it also looks like a purple crown. So
and then crown, Yanis is the crown.
Yep. He invented crowns, according to the old books. He was the first pope. He invented he was the first king of Latium, where Latin comes from.
You think about who else wears crowns. Jesus wears crowns. Is the crown of thorns. and then the sun is a coronal mass, and then you have which gets in. I don't really want to get into, but I'll mention it here, which is the crown virus.
Yeah, well, people, you wouldn't believe the people that you gave me sick when I was coming out, saying that was all Janice, and showing people proof. It blows them away. The first death, January the 11th, his day, his month.
Wow.
You can't get any more blame like that. You know what I mean? It's also when people talk about the solstices and how that is, into reality. People, just do a little experiment when you listen to this. Type in Janus Colii, which is, you can even use his Latin name, which is Ianua. So it's Ian. Basically, you can say Ianua, or Colii, and that is a solstice. He is the solstice gates. So the solstice, like one of the most sacred days, is named after Janus. Why? And this is why I just get dumbfounded when I show you certain things, and you just said it, and you can either get it or you don't, but it should still be there. For instance, if I don't believe in a lot of things, but I still include it in theories, because I say, right, guys, these people believe this, and I can see where they're coming from. I always do it in my videos. Do you know what I mean? And people just straight away slam on when you. And this guy actually messaged me, like I said before, saying this big channel just basically shut down. He said, "Nope, I'm not looking into it."
It's because it's too complicated for them to really understand or really get it. And I admit in the beginning I was intrigued by it. I was watching, been watching your videos for since the first time that I brought you on the show, which was like 11 months ago, almost a year. And I was intrigued by it, but I didn't really understand it too much. But my mind was, open to it more. And then the more that I listened to you talking, the more that I talked to you, and the more that I messaged you, I'm like, holy shit. So maybe just give them a little bit of time and just be like, hey.
Yeah, because it is a complex. It does fry brains, and that's why I always try and make it as basic. And sometimes I don't throw everything in when I'm doing the film, because you don't, too much information, it scares off people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I try and do the videos. Some of them are in categories, for instance, like the Janus rituals. Do you know what I mean? And then I did a second one, which was actually showing you about Bill Gates. The poster child for them is actually named after him. It's like, no. So Gates is January, his name, Bill Gates. When did he get married? Just a day called 1st of January. 1st of January, 1-1. Oh, no. Then you do his birthday, adds to 11. So it's just loads of 11s. Bill Gates in Gematria adds, equates to, it's another number, but it equates to 11. His ex-wife adds to 11. Windows, what Windows are we up to now?
11.
And when did it get released? The date adds to
11. Yep.
How many of these? And people can say, "Oh, it's just coincidence." Yeah, some might generally, sometimes they say universe isn't that lazy, and that's why we don't have coincidences. But sometimes it feels like there's some. But when you start getting all these things added up, you got a guy, the poster child, named after him, and he has all these 11s and connections to. I mean, for instance, he was on LinkedIn. LinkedIn. What was it? LinkedIn? Is it LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yeah.
LinkedIn. And he followed a clothing company called Janus Clothing. Why is he doing that? Why did he have a PA or someone working high up? Her name was Samantha Janus.
Yeah, and then the testing mechanism, the machine that they would test people from. I'm just going to use testing because I don't want to use the trigger words and everything with YouTube or whatever. But the testing machine was called Janus.
Yeah.
Right. It's
and
crazy.
If people can watch it, just go to my channel, look for Janus rituals. There's 1 and 2, and they're like 20 minutes long, and it shows you. I mean, the so-called first death, as they say, January the 11th.
Yep.
The first where they were treating it was with something called Jack, which is the Janus Kinabase. It was originally called the Novelle, which means Roman crown. You know what I mean? So he invented crowns. So you can just see the link. You put a thing on your face, you're making yourself two-faced. Oh, you know what I mean? So all these things add up. And it's like when I'm showing people, it's like some people was like trying to be, you know, really, really smart the other day. And he was, oh, but for instance, like the transgender, you know, and people are into that at the minute. And they always show you the Baphomet. But the Baphomet they always show is the Elias Levi's representation, you know, from the Church of Satan. And that was in the 70s with the breasts, which is cool. You can show that. But Janus is a god of transitions. He's a god of that. He is Baphomet, another name for Baphomet. And the Templars, who so-called the Masonic orders come from, the rendition that they followed had 3 heads. Not that rendition.
Yeah, symbolizing the androgynous nature of Janus. And then I think we talked about it in our video before, that I think that that's where they're trying to push everybody, is to this androgynous kind of god.
That is on airport travel. They want to try and bring that in. They call that Janos seating. And they mention it in it. So, you know what I mean? And then we're talking about the chemicals and the alchemy. You have the rebus. That is Janos. You don't have to put 2 faces on him. You know what I mean? So all these things are easily found, and it just blows me away, because people don't realize when you're showing you Janos, also he's concevious. He's also the head of the penis.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's his form at the minute in this realm. These things just intrigue me, blow me away. And that's what we're going to look for. I'm just going to see if I could come that thing before we go, just to show people. People talk about, like I said, the Jesuits. Oh, well, they're the real power. What's Janus got to do with them? Nothing. I'll just show you a seal with Janus on the Jesuit seal. But we'll ignore that, guys. He's not tied to them neither.
And he's holding a key. He's holding a key in his left hand. What's the thing that he's holding in his right hand?
It looks like a spear or something. Here's another Jesuit seal, and you'll see it a bit more clearer.
Oh yeah, he always got many heads in that one.
Yeah,
5 heads, 6 heads.
On one.
6 heads. Oh, 7 heads.
Yeah, something like that. It's a bit like 5. It's a bit like that thing in that film with.
No, because he had one on the. Yeah, there's a face on the bottom of it, and there's a face on the top of it.
This is. Do you want me to bring it back up for you?
Yeah, bring it back up for me.
I'll just fold it. I'll put that one bigger so you can see a bit more. It looks like 5, and then one on top's a 6.
Oh, there's one on the bottom too.
Oh,
1, 2,
7,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7.
That's intriguing.
So it's like it's as above, so below, and then also side to side.
And this is what I'm talking about. People are talking about the Baphomet. This is from the Templars. This is a Templars Baphomet.
Yeah, androgynous.
And that's a seal found in Templars headquarters. So you can just see how intriguing it is. And that's why I always say to people, just give it a chance. You'll be, you'll be blown away with it. And that's why I just love it, because it seems to link to a lot of things. And sometimes I don't post a lot because you don't, is he going about him again? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those. So, we've had an eclectic speech tonight.
Absolutely. We've gone over a lot of things, and let people know where they can find you online. Plug your Twitter and plug your YouTube channel, where people, if they're interested in getting a hold of your work, which they should be, because it's
you should
fantastic.
tell people you to get on Twitter, but if you go to YouTube. Obviously mine is a bit different than yours, but it's just What the Flock TV. You'll just see that type of image on the screen. So it's What the Flock TV. It's simple. I've got that URL. I managed to get hold of it with my name. So if you just type in What the Flock TV, you should, because I know they don't like it. You'll find me. And then on Twitter, again, I'm under What the Flock TV, and I post stuff that sometimes is really intriguing, but I don't post in things. For instance, this is an old book. It's called the Alberg's Book of Mysteries, and it's called The Monstrous Birth.
Oh wow!
So that's like an old book, you know what I mean? So that could be Siamese twins, or could it be a species of Janos?
Have you seen that girl? Have you seen that girl that she was like twins? They were twins and they were merged together, and they had 2 heads, and they were in the same body.
Oh. Yeah, I've seen that. Just to show you guys, I wasn't like, people sometimes don't believe me. So there's the thing of the wedding of the poster guy, Bill Gates, and this was on his anniversary that he tweeted, and you can see the date of the anniversary. Obviously, it's more years, but he got married on the 1st to 1st. So you know what I mean? It's why is he doing that? You know what I mean? So that is just intriguing. So we've talked about time, we've gone to our other things, and obviously yourself, you're into the 11s now and looking into that, and there's loads of stuff that we can talk about. Well, not now, but and again, because obviously you get into a time where it's get rid of Paul, He's been on long enough now.
No, I love talking to you, my friend. I'll have to bring you back on here pretty soon. Let's do it again. Let's do it again soon, my friend. I really enjoyed it. We went all over the place, and I hope people could follow, but I really loved it. I think we covered a lot of
it's just what we do, and it's just like we film it and we just go from one thing to another. But before I go, and before I say to bye to everyone, it's like, what's some of the biggest topics that people talk in the community? One of them is the pineal, named after Janos. The other is a torus field. Tor means door. It's your field, the door field. All these main things are traced back to, let's talk about the Vatican, Janus, Rome, Latium. All these things go to that topic. And that's why I say, guys, we've just been locked down for 2 years because of the ritual to him. So all these things, just please research it. Don't take my word for it. Hopefully you've enjoyed tonight. It's just me and Ryder just go off on a tangent. But I don't know what his title is going to be. It's just going blah, 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 all the way down, but it happens. And we're just organic and natural. And I just hope everyone has a great time when they're listening to this. And just contact me through my channel on Twitter. Please follow me, and you'll see more crazy stuff that comes out of my mind.
Absolutely. I definitely recommend everyone going over and subscribing to What the Flock TV, Paul's channel. Amazing, very interesting stuff in there. If I wouldn't have listened to it and I never would have found them, a lot of the stuff that I've thought of, because I've just compounded upon a lot of the things, because that's the way that I work. Like if I listen to someone, then I can throw my own ideas and my own thoughts into it based off of the knowledge that I know. And more people really need to be doing that, is listening to people, and then inserting their own thoughts and their own ideas, and creating something new, because obviously we don't know everything, and it helps whenever other people bring out their thoughts and ideas as well. Oh yeah, 3-faced Trinity God found in the ruins of ancient Babylon. Yep, Trinity. That's another thing. The Trinity is, that's what I think. Janus is, and the Trinity is depicting man and woman coming together. Again, the androgynous nature of Janus, and when man and woman comes together, they create God, which is El, and that's what Israel is.
So there's that thing I said to you before. Bill Gates, Portas. You go to the definition, you can see.
Janus.
Means, that's his poster. You know what I mean? So that's a little image I did of it. You know what I mean? Just for a laugh. You know what I mean?
That's
So
perfect. And also Paul's memes. Paul's memes are out of the world. Like follow him on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but he normally sends me the memes that he makes, and they're incredible. And I love looking at him. He makes some really, really great ones. But thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you a lot, brother. The links to Paul's channel will be in the description of this video. For everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. I hope you really enjoyed it. Much love to everyone in the chat. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to help the channel out in the YouTube algorithm. Share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well. The link to my channel on Rokfin is in the description. Sign up over there. You can catch this episode and any of my other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and download them individually on Spreaker directly to your device for free. Links are in the description. Again, Paul, thanks so much, brother, for coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with me and my viewers. You're welcome back on anytime, and I will get you back on very soon.
it's an honor and a privilege. Take care, guys.
And remember, we're not only in a spiritual war, but a war on humanity. Stay aware, stay alert, keep loving your heart for everyone, stay safe out there. And if you can see through the illusion, you are the solution. See you guys next time.